Country rains here. I hope you're having an amazing day. Today we're going to be eating some sancocho. I'm here in my home in Malacatos, and my friend Sandra has made a sancocho. This is the third video in the Ecuadorian soup video series. Please go back and look for them on my channel. You don't want to miss them. I think the soup's about ready, so let's go inside. So the soup's ready. This is sancocho. There are lots of types of sancochos, and they're different depending on where you are in Ecuador. This is a sancocho from the highlands. But when an Ecuadorian sees pieces of corn cob and yuca and plantain, it's a sancocho. Okay? So there are pieces of yuca or manioc. There are pieces of verde, which are plantain. There's a piece of plantain. And there's pieces of some kind of beef, okay? Now this was made with ribs and a lomo fino, or a nicer roast beef. It was a combination. And again, my friend Sandra was nice enough to make this for me. And on top I have green onions and cilantro, and so those are the characteristic things of a sancocho. The choclo, the corn on the cob, plantain, and yuca. And then the broth is made from beef. So let's give it a taste. Very flavorful. Now, not everywhere would they put tomato in this. This had a little bit of tomato. When Sandra began to make it, she put garlic and onion, cumin, a little bit of tomato. So it's not real tomatoey, but it sure gives it a nice color, and it gives it a nice flavor. Amazing. That yuca just melts in your mouth. It is so soft. It was good and fresh when what we had of the yuca when she began making it, and now that it's cooked, it's just super soft, super nice. Okay, and here's the plantain. Plantain can sometimes be dry, but this is not dry. It's been in the pot a long time, and it's nice and soft. Let's check out the corn. Now, this is always a little bit messy, but it's part of the fun of eating sancocho. Really nice. Now, corn on the cob here is much larger than it is, at least in the U.S. Corn has more of a hominy taste to it. It's more starchy, it's not quite as sweet, and the kernels are very large. And so putting it in a pot of soup like this where it's going to cook and cook and cook is no problem at all. Delicious. Now, the only thing I have against any of the Ecuadorian soups is they tend to be starchy. Well, if you put a salad with this, you're good to go. You've got all this wonderful bone broth. You've got some starch in there. You've got some protein. But you really kind of need to put it with something else that's got more vegetable. The problem is that they would serve a soup like this and then a plate of rice, maybe with potato and meat, and very little vegetables. So the starch, the diet here is very heavy in starch. But you know, it was for the United States too. Back when people were farmers and worked hard every day, were very active, they could tolerate a lot more carbohydrate than we can now, where people sit behind computers and have desk jobs. So, you know, if I'm going to have a good soup like this, then I'm just going to put lots of veg with it and keep everything else really light the rest of the day. Or if I want to have a plate of rice with something in it, then I won't do a soup. So that's just a good rule of thumb to keep those carbohydrates low. I have wonderful memories of living in keto and going and getting an almuerzo, and the soup would be sancocho. And the more herbs you put on the top, the better. Very good. Okay, it's time to give this meat a try. And like I said, meat on the bone is typical here. They don't take it off the bone. This is the way of saying this is a homemade soup. This is really good nutrition. It's bone broth. It's soft. It's surprisingly soft. Good fatty meat, rib meat. Very nice. Oh, and I forgot something very important. Sancocho, just like encebollado, is usually served with lemon. So I should have put lemon on this. Actually, the tomato gives a little bit of acid, so it's perfect the way it is. But I can see that if it didn't have the tomato, a little squirt of lemon on top would be really important. And you know, this is about all the animal protein anybody needs in a day. So I would put this with a salad. That would be a great combination. A nice fresh green salad, and then finish off your meal with this lovely soup with lots of good starch and meat. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about the recipe. Just like the other soups we've looked at, it starts off with a refrito, which is just sauteing in a little bit of oil, garlic, onions, cumin, whatever your spices will be. In this case, it was with a little bit of fresh tomato. And then once that has been sauteed, you put your bones in there, your ribs, your meat, and you brown it just a little bit. Then you put your water in it and let it cook until the meat is very soft. Now, it would have been beneficial to have this maybe in a pressure cooker, so that's another option. But you would do the pressure cooked meat, then you would, in another pot, you would begin to saute those onions, garlic, cumin, tomato, put the bones in, let it cook, let it brown a little bit, the meat. Then put in the water and let it cook until the meat is done. Then you can put in your pieces of yuca and plantain. Those aren't going to take that long. But really, you can just leave it in there until it's all nice and soft. And then your soup is done. You know, you check for salt. At the table, you can add your cilantro or your green onions and your lemon. So that's how you make a sancocho, at least in the highlands of Ecuador. We'll see that there are other sancochos and other ways to do it. But this is just a really hearty, wonderful soup. No canned ingredients, no frozen ingredients. Yes, it's time consuming, but it's also wholesome nutrition. I think the soup that this most reminds me of is just a vegetable soup. A vegetable soup where things are left rather large. There are large chunks of potato and meat. And but the broth is very much like a beef vegetable soup. So I hope you're enjoying this series on Ecuadorian soups. If you haven't seen the other videos, you can go to Puravidalojana. That's my YouTube channel. So thanks for being with me today, and thanks for supporting my channel. And remember, eat healthy, stay healthy, and I'll see you on the next video.